Every edition of the Farnborough Airshow promises to deliver, but can it actually live up to that? Well, so far, I would say it has, and day 2 was even more action-packed arguably than day 1. There's a lot for me to cover, from news I've already taken a look at, to brand new orders that are yet to see the light of day on the channel. But instead of sticking always with aircraft orders, I thought I'd initially move to some modification plans to the Boeing 787, where Boeing announced plans to partner with Lufthansa Technik to modify this long-haul plane right around the world. The upcoming modification concerns the interior of the popular wide-body aircraft. The first modification under the new agreement is set to commence next year in 2025. As part of the arrangement, Lufthansa Technik will become Boeing's first licensed service center, enabling operators to have greater choice and capacity in the long-haul jet market. Boeing is all about increasing the versatility of the 787, an aircraft that has already cemented its role as a leader thanks to that versatility that it offers airlines. To increase that, the manufacturer believes partnering with Lufthansa Technik will improve capacity into the future. While this can enhance operators' existing fleets, it also provides the opportunity for prospective airlines to redefine what the 787 Dreamliners missions means to them, whether that is meeting markets that have high demand levels, or maybe markets that have altered in the 10 years that an airline has been operating the 787, and maybe the initial configuration for this type that they took delivery of is not optimal for this location. As a designated BLSC, Lufthansa Technik will design new cabin interiors, provide associated engineering, and perform the formal integration per the specific airline customer's requirements. Furthermore, Lufthansa Technik's role will increase further, as it will also handle the relevant certification of the cabin modification projects that it will be undertaking. The 787 family has quickly proved itself to not just be a favoured choice for long-haul flying across, say, the last decade, but in some instances the sole answer to some airlines' wide-body flying requirements, and endeavours such as these are only going to increase that for more companies. This achievement has been reached thanks to the flexibility the program offers regarding available variants, whether it's the smallest Dash 8 to the high-capacity Dash 10. Each variant offers airlines something different. Additionally, these respective companies can tailor their needs for aircraft with the configuration of the planes, whether it's high-capacity domestic missions or long-haul flying across oceans with a more premium density configuration. The ability for Boeing to work with Lufthansa Technik to enhance the Dreamliners cabin interior will be tremendous for airlines. Boeing hopes this to be a driving force that will keep the plane in service for much longer. The Farnborough Airshow is a perfect example of why a platform like Ground News exists, with coverage sometimes either being done in a less factual or more biased manner. Ground News is an app and website that combines related news globally and filters it all into the one place, and you can go to ground.news/DJA to check it all out. In the case of the Farnborough Airshow, we've seen a lot of success for Boeing and aircraft orders. 5 sources picked up on the high-flying start with the ability to reach these in the one place. Thanks to 3 independent news monitoring organizations, it's possible for us to see that 67% of these pieces lean towards the center rather than the left or right. Further observation identifies that France 24's article describes the fast start, but also that Boeing is in a crisis mode still. However, maybe in the case of other outlets, they've opted for not such a negative view with their headline. The ability to navigate through this is necessary for topics such as Boeing, Aviation, and even Air Journal, but don't worry, you're able to tailor your experience on Ground News to your specific interests and therefore think more critically when consuming news such as the Farnborough Airshow. Working with Ground News has been an absolute pleasure, and I believe they are a fantastic asset being a news channel and knowing you consume news daily. Check them out at ground.news/DJA and use the link to save 40% on the Vantage plan I use. The orders, though, for Boeing did keep rolling in. On the second day of the air show, Boeing broke a stream of Airbus announcements by unveiling a deal for the 737 MAX. The purchase interestingly comes from Macquarie AirFinance and includes 20 of the middle ground 737-8s. The deal is a firm one and is a pretty big boost for Boeing. Deliveries are scheduled between 2029 and 2030, with the role of Macquarie being a leader in the aviation industry for leasing. The purchase comes in the same year as actually Macquarie announced it would acquire a portfolio for USD 1.1 billion, including 23 aircraft from Aviation Lease and Financing Company. Most notably, however, the aircraft selected was the 737 MAX, and today's commitment reaffirms the lessor's stance that this is an in-demand plane that needs to be shipped off to more and more airlines. Macquarie AirFinance has clarified that it wants to develop its fleet further and implement next-gen types. Ultimately, the 737 MAX will lower the business's carbon emissions intensity. Thanks to the latest commitment, the overall portfolio of aircraft will now more than include 300 units, this including your units on order. This is spread across to almost 100 airlines in just shy of 50 countries. Macquarie further noted in February 2024 that it had a firm order book of 66 planes from Airbus and Boeing, but now the new deal means this will reach some 80 plus units. This backlog will prove essential as we begin seeing more companies turn to the leasing market to fulfill their capacity requirements as manufacturers face limited delivery slots. And the orders just kept tumbling in. Virgin Atlantic announced that they would be committing to 7 more A330neos in, I'd argue, probably some of the best fashion possible, and maybe if you dig a little deeper, also fashion that was to maybe be expected. Virgin Atlantic did send an Airbus A330neo to the Farnborough Airshow and were holding a bit of a briefing on board the A330neo. What better time than there to say that they would be committing even further to 7 more units, and interestingly the takeaway from this is not that the A330neo fleet will grow upwards to 19 units, but more so that Virgin Atlantic views the A330neo order as the last part of a jigsaw puzzle that will complete its fleet transformation efforts, and we'll have to wait and see how these A330neos get deployed, but it'll be exciting to say the least. The A330neo enjoyed a great day as well, with VietJet confirming it would order this aircraft type as well, with a view of modernizing its wide-body fleet and replacing some of its aging units. The VietJet commitment isn't necessarily a new one. Remember, in February of 2024, this was an MOU with the vision of eventually it being firmed up. Well, Farnborough Airshow presented that perfect opportunity, and this is for 20 units, all for the A330-900, with the Vietnamese low-cost carrier really wanting to spread its wings not just for international flying but also for the regional network. Japan Airlines continued the success enjoyed at Airbus, confirming that they would be purchasing 20 A350-900s and 11 A321neos, and in a similar fashion to VietJet, this was a previously announced deal, but the emergence of the Farnborough Airshow has given them the opportunity to firm it up, take lovely press photos, and really get it out there to the world. And it comes only a day after they committed to additional 787 Dreamliners, as the company sees fantastic levels of demand to and from Japan and wants to pounce on that. Alongside the A330neo, for another aircraft type that has had a slow order intake at different points in the last 5 years, the 777X is also enjoying a fantastic airshow, and Qatar Airways reaffirmed its commitment to this by upping its total order tally to include another 20 units of the 777-9, bringing the order book, if we're including freighters, to almost 100. While being formally announced today, Boeing said that this deal had already been finalized and was listed as unidentified in their orders and deliveries sheet. That is going to conclude today's news recap for day 2 at the Farnborough Airshow. Any thoughts? Leave them down below in the comments, and don't worry, there's a lot more still to come. Thank you very much to Ground News for sponsoring this video. You can check them out and get 40% off the Vantage plan that I use at ground.news/DJA. They help power the channel, and your support for them would be certainly appreciated.